Hello everybody. We're going to take you on a garden tour. This is Amy's garden, or a garden that's been Amy-sized. It's not our normal garden. We'll start with these pots that are on the side porch that are full of marigolds that when they were planted from seed packets were supposed to be miniature yellow marigolds. As you can see, they're not. We've got all kinds of colors of orange coming through and very, very large marigolds that are only just now starting to bloom, and it's mid-July. These plants are doing wonderfully this year, and they're going to bloom soon. They're huge, but our fountain that everybody loves kind of has developed a leak, so it's not running because you put water in it, you run it, and it only lasts, a couple hours and it's empty again. Before Amy came here to live, I had planted some pansies early in the spring, so you see those living there. We have this extra special ugly fencing across everything because Amelia is quite the plant chewer, and so we had to fence things off so that she wouldn't eat them and trample them. And so now I'm going to sneak out the gate here because Amy's trying to follow me, and we don't have a gate in front anymore, so she can't come to the front yard yet because she won't stay away. Here is the front compass garden. It's actually quite full of lots and lots of sedum. The pansies that I planted early. I did get some bargain basement geraniums that I planted at the tips, and they're starting to bloom, but not quite the seasonal color that I normally like to have with annuals, but it's still pretty. It's just not quite what I like, but we didn't buy all the flats of geraniums and pansies and petunias that I normally, the pansies were bought before Amy came here, but nothing else. We do have, the year has been kind of funny as far as blooming, and things are late, but the clematis are doing well for the most part. The president ones here at the front gate are our largest and showiest this year, but some of the ones in the back aren't quite as huge. The daylilies are now just starting to pop out in the different places. The front curb gardens, I did plant more of the petunias, and I planted some marigold seeds in here as well. They haven't started blooming yet, but we'll see what color those packets come out to be. And there are some on each side in the middle. These petunias that are growing in the ground here are ones that I just didn't pull them when I recognized the seeds coming up. And the daylilies, these two were about the same. The elderberry bush has grown tremendously this year, and so has the miniature lilac that we planted last year, and actually it never bloomed this year. It just has gotten shoots on it that have made it huge. All the mums that we planted last year, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 living mums. I did, on another clearance half-dead rack, buy these plants to put in this thing. I spent a whole whopping $8 and got some geraniums and some, oh, I can't remember what the little plants are. But I had to have some seasonal color, annual color, between that and the few geraniums. And I basically got 18 geraniums for like $11 is why I got those. And now we're back to the gate, and there's Miss Amelia waiting patiently, and we'll go around to the backyard. And it's really been Amelia-sized. You know, we've got the puppy pen that she still plays in quite often. We had to put an extra fence back here to keep her from going in behind the grills and totally annihilating the hostas and getting over to that side. It was quite challenging. She's completely destroyed these lilies, was getting in them badly. And then we put this fence up, and she could get through certain areas of the fence, so we had to put all kinds of extra stakes. And Bruce thinks she's still getting in one small place, but we haven't figured out exactly where. But we are getting some blooms in the daylilies, just not anywhere near what they used to be because of being Amy-sized. Here again, back in the back, I planted some marigolds in these pots that were supposed to be miniature yellows, and it's not what I got. Then in here I did some of the geraniums and some of the, you know, there's more perennial color in here. And then I did have a lot of these moss roses that have come up from seed, and these were seeds that I planted, and they're supposed to be the miniature size, and they pretty much are what they're supposed to be. And the coreopsis is blooming like crazy right now. The daylilies I planted in there, the one side's blooming, the other side doesn't look like it's going to get any blooms this year. You know, things are filling in nicely. This was one of the big changes this year. We had the pond filter pit in that area, and I never liked it. It was kind of just an ugly eyesore that I grew a bunch of vines trying to camouflage it, but it just still didn't work well. So we moved the pond filtration to back behind the gazebo and just made a little area. I did plant a vine that was supposed to go up around that trellis. That's what used to be in the front, but the rabbits have made short work of that. It's supposed to be a purple bean vine, but I think I will move or eventually put some clematis there too. We're still fighting the Virginia creeper that, even though I pulled out and tried to destroy, is still taken off there close to the pond, plus that one other buttonweed. I've got to get in there and get that cleaned out. We've got a bunch of cleome coming up all over the place, and I pulled tons and tons and tons of it, but some of it I'm leaving, and we'll have some firecracker plants. These snapdragons are all just up on their own from seeds from other years, and the bunnies we found like to get in there even. The lily garden's not looking as pretty today as it does some days. It's kind of early yet, so they're not open, but you know, it's what it is. I planted seeds all the way along the neighbor's fence this year to have these coming up. And again, the name of what they are is escaping me right this minute. I'm sure one of the other gardeners will be able to tell. But not only does Amy like playing and knocking down plants, she likes to eat them. And so we've had quite the time with that. Oh, and our neighbors and her raspberries. Guess who loves raspberries? So we're trying to teach her that she only eats the raspberries when she gets handed raspberries, because she just loves the raspberries. Again, we have some moss roses back here, and those are ones that came up from seed, and so I'm kind of glad they did. And then back here we have a couple tomato plants and some Brussels sprout plants, because Bruce wanted Brussels sprouts this year. We've had a hard time keeping Amy out of there, but she's doing okay. Back there we have our big, huge old clematis, and here's another one that kind of matches it. See the white ones that are close, or in the big old one? That's, I think, like one strand that survived when I originally planted. I planted 3 different varieties. I did move some of the clematis that I had around that filter pit this year, and this is one of them. There's a couple more beside the house in the lily thing, and a couple more right at the back trellises of the house. And I'd like to get some more clematis going other places, but not just yet. So this is it. Bye.